YouTube.
Welcome. Subscribe down below. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
There we go. Hi,
Make
guys.
sure to subscribe if you like what you see.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. Is that the ice?
Mm-hmm.
You trying to get on the same level?
Yeah. But I can't because I have tests that I have to study for. It's at work.
Tests?
You know what I mean. Ready?
Oh, shit. Yeah. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Spearhead transmission. It's June 28th, 2017. It's time to break those chains and water that tree. So we have an in-house guest with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We've got my hairdresser, Adam.
Hello, hello.
Is that proper terminology? Can we call you hairdresser?
Stylist?
Fine.
Barber?
I prefer, hairdresser.
Hairdresser?
Not barber.
Barber is the
Barber's
old man
like
that
an
makes
old
you
man.
smell like
Slaps the shit out of the back of your head.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Okay.
has the twirling thing.
And the green comb stuff.
Yeah.
You got the green comb stuff?
Yes, I do. You have to.
Really?
What do they call that?
Barbicide.
That's
Barbicide,
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but dude,
It kills everything.
really? I hope so.
Yeah, I start now that you're saying that. I think about that, man. Some people with funky heads probably come in and get a haircut.
Well,
Do you say anything to those people? Like
I don't get many of those people. Most of
early on?
early on, yes, and you just do what you gotta do.
Do you say anything? Be like, hey, man,
Depends
there's
on the funk.
I've
you got like ticks coming out like on your head.
I've had a couple ticks. I mean, on clients, yeah.
I've
Freaking me
I
out.
pulled ticks off before I went to see Adam before.
Well, I mean, I get it, right?
Here's what I always get
I hate
nervous because I
ticks.
get those little zits on the
Mm-hmm.
back of my neck, and it seemed like they always like time the same time I'm getting a haircut. I'm like, "God, I gotta go get my haircut and it'd be all zitty neck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what's crazy is when he cuts my hair, he doesn't do anything. I remember
Yeah.
get it cut in the military. Those fucking barbers,
Mm-hmm.
they like shave the damn thing off with clippers. It'd be bleeding, and then your collar of your shirt would be rubbing on it. But I don't know. I have my biggest question for hairdressers is like, because you see like people with like Donald Trump's got like bad hair, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like what was that old that other dude that ran for vice president a while back? He looked like a little boy.
John.
Cusack.
No. Not. Yeah. The guy that.
The guy that got
Yeah.
like busted knocking up his housekeeper or
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Arnold. No. I know who it is.
Anyway,
He was John Kerry's running mate.
yeah.
Uh-huh. And his name was John something.
I always so they get their hair cut somewhere, and
Mhm.
someone's cutting it. Like what are the rules as far as like when you're cutting someone's hair? And like, hey man, I want you to shave the sides and then put some thunderbolts in it, and then like perm the top and then crimp the back and leave it long. Like you just like, you got it, bud.
What are the rules to that? Like
I mean, if
Just-
you
if
cut
that's
their
what they
hair the way they
that's
want
what
it?
they get.
You just say like, you sure?
Yeah,
You just give them once over, like, you sure?
I just say, let's keep this on the DL. Don't tell anyone who's doing your hair.
Because I've seen bad haircuts before.
Well, I've got one now, but it's just because I've let it grow so long.
That's because you don't go to Adam.
She does a good job. What? I don't know. I can't. You
The
can't put
last
me on the
lady
spot
that cut
on
my
this.
hair was named Nazi, and we've talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah,
Because I went to
Nazi.
the hipster place here in town,
Yeah,
and the guy shaved my widow's peak with a pair of clippers.
try to make you look like Johnny.
So the
Cash.
next day, I had a 5 o'clock shadow on the center of my forehead. And
He
then-
seriously did shave that?
Yeah.
Why?
I have no idea what he was doing. He had a full blown like carpenter's apron on and a huge red beard, so he totally fit the bill.
So fucking blacksmith that cut your hair.
And he shaved the sides up here. Like he kept taking it back. I was like, dude, I've seen that video of that black guy that straightens up his hair and he keeps going back until he's like half his head's gone.
I could have that haircut though.
That guy is sitting there. He's like, oh shit.
You can tell. You can tell like the stages of how worried he gets.
Yeah. Oh, that video. Yeah, he keeps combing it like.
Well, he was my hairdresser once.
That was a cool haircut.
Yeah, ended up. Just gonna be a little bit of touch up on the side. Was a mohawk by the end of it.
Well, it's hard. The fade's the hardest part.
Yeah. We just got to take it up a little higher.
Couldn't quite get the fade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how it is. That's how it is.
Well, you wanted devil locks like the Misfits.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do that. It turns out I couldn't. So
well,
we just
but it was still cool. We
left the mohawk.
We ended up with. It was like what I worked in a glass shop.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I needed to have a.
I think mohawks are cool, man. I'd wear a mohawk if it was.
Well, that's kind of what I went for with this, but trying to get away with it, because it's shaved on the sides, but it doesn't grow so fast.
Yeah.
So then it gets long, but
Well, see, if I had the money, I'd want my hair cut once a week, because always right when you leave, it's like that Beyonce song or Outcast or whatever it is. Got a haircut and.
I know what you're talking about. It's the best.
Fresh and so clean.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, but like when it's cut on the sides, and I feel like 100.
It's been 3 weeks since mine, and this is a one that usually goes to.
Yeah, I did one too, but no. So we'll welcome you. We're gonna have you just commentate on what we commentate. So just feel free to join in.
Sweet.
Always, yeah. Just jump in.
All right, I got on this introduction, which is basically just us shooting the shit. I got 2 things here that I read about. So Ariel Winter, you know who that is, right?
So have we talked about her before?
We had her on the show? No, we've talked about her.
Was she in a show called Modern Family?
Modern Family.
And that's the one that you talked about that was like, oh yeah, she's hot, but she's just 18. Was that
she
way
just
back
turned
when?
18? Yeah.
She just turned 18.
But when I first was watching, I was like, man, that girl that plays the younger sister's got gigantic boobs.
Right.
You know?
Right. I remember all this.
And
I didn't remember her name as being Winter.
Yeah, well, she's posting like on her Instagram all kinds of stuff. Ass pictures and boob pictures. And I guess Star Magazine, which I always thought everyone knew that Star was just like a, tabloid or whatever.
Star is like the Inquirer, right?
Yeah. It was,
yeah.
Had the checkout, they had the National Enquirer and they had Star Magazine, right? They had Bat Boy on it. I guess Star was more like geared towards celebrities and shit, but
it makes sense.
Anyway, she says Star Magazine is obviously a reputable source and a trash magazine, but seriously, how dare you make up stuff that you have no idea about? She wrote, I have a boyfriend and a personal assistant who are not the same person. So I guess Star Magazine said that Ariel Winter was paying her boyfriend. So she says, I would never pay my boyfriend any sort of allowance, nor would he ever accept it if I offered.
Rapid fire answer.
It's not porn.
He buys his own stuff, whether it's for me or myself, and
this is her.
and he pulls more than his weight. He pulls his weight for our life. I hate fake news, but I guess that's what our world has come to. So fake news is like the go-to anymore, right? What is
Shave and laser. 2-piece.
What? This is her.
Skinny dip in daylight. My boyfriend. Chrissy Teigen. I love her. My favorite ice cream flavor is pretty lame, but I'm still going to say it anyways. Vanilla. I run out of chapstick a lot, which really bugs me, so I'm probably just going to say that. Law & Order SVU. Blissful?
All right.
I've never...
What the hell is this?
I don't know.
Where'd you find that?
On your... Go ahead. Continue with your story. I need to click out of that, though.
Anyway, I thought it was funny that she's using the terms fake news, and the second part of this is this girl's going down the same road as like Britney Spears. Like, it's only a matter of time for she's hitting cars with umbrellas and shaving her head. I mean, she's already doing... I mean,
really?
She's... I think she tried to sue her parents or something.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
For
dude.
real?
Yeah, it's bad. It's sad because, in the show, she's like a sweet little girl, right?
But in reality, she's just a complete
she's gonna be
lunatic.
crazy. I mean, and I don't get why it would be. Why I feel like if I was a successful movie star, I would be so laid back. Like, I wouldn't give a shit if people were saying like, "Oh, Star says I'm paying my my wife an allowance." All right, at least they're talking about me. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
Like I don't give a shit. I would need to make a statement, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think I would be. I would hope that I'm the same way, right? I would hope that it wouldn't go to my head. But when you're surrounded with people that telling you that you're the best, and that you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that, you're so talented, you're so this.
you know what drives me nuts though is when I know someone's telling me something because they know I want to hear it. Like if someone talks, like tries to talk to me about something that I know they have no interest in, they're just trying to talk to me about like.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, so how's German chocolate baking going? Like, fuck off. You don't care.
You don't like my fucking baking?
Yeah, German chocolate's my stuff, you know, or whatever. Like, talk about what interests you. So, I guess my inner circle of Hollywood people would have to just be a bunch of dicks.
Yeah.
Everyone just be assholes. Like, hey, let's go get a Whataburger. Fuck you, I don't want Whataburger. Like, hey, I'm the star here. Like, fuck off. Let's go get Charlie's Chicken. Like,
Just surrounded with people that are
everyone's
real.
fighting.
Can't wait.
And my other thing I wanted to talk about in the introduction, this is more hot zone, but so last week we talked about presidential investigations and political investigations and how like nothing ever comes from it. Everyone's hanging their hat on like Donald Trump's talking to Russia before the election and nails in the coffin or whatever you want to say. Fucking article here says, and this is from HuffingtonPost.com.
What is this?
It says, is Russia... I didn't put it on
Oh.
there. Is Russiagate collapsing as a political strategy? The plan for Democrats to run against Russia may be falling apart after squandering much of the last 6 months on faulting Russians for the horrific presidency of Donald Trump. After blaming America's dire shortfalls on democracy of plurocrats in Russia more than on plurocrats in America, after largely marketing the brand of their own party as more anti-Russian than pro-working people, after stampeding many Democratic Party-aligned organizations, pundits, and activists into fixating more on Russia than on 1,000 chronic cuts to democracy here at home, now Democrats in Congress and other party leaders are starting to face an emerging reality. The winning issue of Russia is a losing issue.
So you feel like jumping ship, right?
Well,
They hung everything they could on it, and then
I mean, yeah. For one, like we said before, I don't ever see anything come from any kind of investigation.
no.
Like, President Obama was selling or shipping guns to Mexico to track them in the drug war, and it killed an American Border Patrol agent. We'll write that one off. No big deal, or whatever. Like Hillary Clinton did this, Bill Clinton was getting his ding dong sucked,
Isn't it more by like justice in the eyes of the public? Isn't that kind of how it works? Like it's just the media cycle runs, and then they're like, oh, they just shit on Obama, and then Obama's like, that sucks, and then, well, now it's Trump. We're gonna take a huge dump on Trump, and then the cycle just keeps moving. I feel
like it's more of a show for the people.
It is
like the plebes or whatever you want to say, like
the proletariats.
Yeah, like, oh, you lesser people. Okay, yeah, we killed one of our own people with this thing, so we're gonna start an investigation. This is bad.
It's to appease the masses.
Run some stories on it, and then pans out, nothing happens, and everyone feels like they got some sort of, at least we reported on it, or I don't know, man. But
well, I mean, maybe that's pretty much been the case for at least.
I don't want to sit there and talk about that book that I'm reading, since I always talk about it, which I'm trying to get.
Is this author so insightful?
Yes.
More insightful than us?
He talks about boobs in that book a lot. So
then that's good.
talks about the media and how the government controls the media and how they use the media to change or to push their agenda, right? Like all it takes is a little bit of tweaking to turn something that could just be nothing into something to where it can. And that book's, focused on gun bans and shit. So instead of saying like, hey, this guy was, just an avid sharpshooter, he's a sniper, and we kind of said that today in group text, that term sniper is used all the time. Some,
right.
Was she Armenian or Turk?
That Kurdish woman?
Kurdish lady that's shooting out of a window. And, CNN says, female sniper almost gets shot in the head. Like, first thing, I'm sure a sniper would know not to just sit there and
poke his weapon out the window.
Rifle out the window.
Have you seen that video? Oh, my gosh.
The girl's kind of cute. She almost gets zapped in the head.
And she's happy about it.
Yeah, she's high on
Captagon.
Captagon. I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, so you can shift what people are try to react.
I love how you read a book, but I've been saying this for the last 5 years.
But I mean, it also.
All right, hold on.
What is it? What did I read?
Concretizes your belief.
No, I don't know where I read it or what.
See, I don't know if this is gonna fucks us up on YouTube, but we're not getting paid anyways. Let's see.
They're gonna play.
Does that not work? Anyways, look at her face.
She's got. She gets shot. There you can see it right there.
See the bullet right there hits above her head. This little.
Oh yeah. I see
for some reason, this isn't gonna play.
Took me a minute to figure out.
Shouldn't have very good cheek weld on that either.
No, she's
like
a
sniper. That's how I shot my BB gun when I was in second grade.
Well,
but
anyways, go ahead.
So I guess it's not that it makes me feel better reading it somewhere, but it's I can't remember if this part anyway. Oh, that's playing.
You know what? I did say this was staged.
Yeah. You know, and you ever طفي Schwanson.
I've got a big blue headband on, sticking my head out this window. All right.
So what I'm saying is,
where you're going here
is that someone somewhere said that the reaction that you have to news stories, like the reaction that you feel when you read a news story,
the emotional reaction, right,
is you need to stop what you're doing, take a step back and say, is that what they're wanting me to feel? You know what I mean? Like, am I supposed to be mad at these people because of how this is reported? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think critically and think like, well, maybe,
maybe that's what the intended purpose of the story was.
Yeah.
All in all. Yeah. I mean,
like, I'm mad. The McRib's not coming back this summer.
Those motherfuckers.
Like, I hate McDonald's. Well, maybe Whataburger paid McDonald's.
Come on with the Whataburger. You're killing me.
I'm craving it. I could go for a Whataburger, but when I leave here, I'm gonna seafoam my engine, not get hamburgers. I'm gonna go in a parking lot and seafoam it.
Are you really?
Yeah. Have you ever done that to a motor?
It smokes.
Yes. It says it's quite. I think it says, quote, quite noxious. So you got a whole can of stuff, and you go 1,000 RPMs over your idle speed, and you just spray the entire can into your intake, and then you turn it off and let it sit for 5 minutes. And it said when you start it back up, it said drive aggressively, but the fumes will be quite noxious. So I've heard it's like horrible smoking.
Perfect.
But I think I got some carbon buildup in my engine.
That's the ping, huh?
I don't know. I don't even know if it's pinging.
You're sensitive to it?
I got to get your guy to listen to it if this doesn't work. Because it's
Lexus
only
guy?
Yeah. It's only when I
accelerate.
but I have to been driving for a little while. So I can get first thing in the morning and do it and won't do it. And I start driving. By the time I get to work and then pull in, and it's only in certain spots. Like if I get on it and like put it under load, it'll like sounds like someone's shaking a spray paint can.
I know exactly. Yeah, it sounds like it's ping.
Is it?
Sounds like it.
I don't know. Because my other Land Cruisers pinged before when I had the ignition or the timing off, and it was obvious. This is hard to hear. So
my Harley pinged a lot, especially after I did a cam. I had to definitely do a programmer and add fuel. I can't remember exactly what I did, but can you hear me better?
Yeah. What year Harley did you have?
12. So it was even fuel injected. I mean, it was a modern.
Really?
It's not your points, man. Got to fix your points.
The points.
The rear cylinder on those runs hotter, and so when you're being air cooled running around on a really hot day, you'll get some major ping. Yeah.
Well, see, that's all I can think of is that the cylinder or the carbon shit's getting hot by the time I get to wherever I'm going, and then it'll because it's doing it's cool because the carbon's cool, right? It's not causing detonation or pinging or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. Put that whole can
trying to come off there.
And mosquito fog the Creek Turnpike on the way home.
Drive aggressively.
Mosquito problem. Come by our house.
Drive aggressively.
So hey, before we change subjects, there, I've got to feel like you're like the wolf on Pulp Fiction.
Oh, Pulp Fiction.
Because like
the cleaner.
Yeah, because I could be like, Adam, I got bugs in my attic. Like, I got a guy. I cut his hair. Or a girl, whoever. Like you've got to have a lot of contacts.
I do.
You're like Marcellus Wallace, then.
I think the wolf's more connected.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh well, he's got a guy that does it. So okay, I could see it. I could see.
I damn near have a contact.
For anything.
Man.
I mean, think about it. Everyone gets their hair cut. Like everybody. Well, almost everybody.
Podcast guy. Got a podcast guy right there, huh?
Plumber, electrician.
But and you know what? We should definitely, if you want more customers, we should plug your show on or your place on this. That way.
What's your place if you want?
Yeah, what is it? Let's do it.
My last name ORR. It's Or Salon at 15th and Columbia.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma
for you Irish listeners.
Mm-hmm.
If the first Irish listener that comes over here and gets a haircut, I'll pay for your haircut for a year.
Get you drunk.
Pay for a year of haircuts for the Irish. If you fly from Ireland.
Can you handle to pay for that?
Huh?
Those Irish like to get their haircuts.
That's once a month. What's that? $30 once a month or ish? If it's a guy, if it's a girl, fuck, I'm screwed.
Yeah. I want cut.
Been a few times I've been checking our bank account like, the hell is this for? And then like contact my wife like, well, I got my haircut and a color and something
face
else
massage.
Dude, there was a guy, I've said this on this podcast, at the Exchange in Guam, the base haircut dude, old Filipino, cut your hair, just beat the hell out of you the whole time he's cutting your hair, like, yeah. And then he had a robotic hand with these two look like metal dicks on the end of his fingers, and then he'd give you a back rub afterwards.
Wait, like was his hand attached to him?
Yeah.
It was on his arm?
It was like the Nintendo Power Glove with dicks on the fingers.
So that was his real hand?
Yeah.
That's what he would eat with? Oh, no.
Okay, and then, he slid on. It had these like metal balls that these fingers went in. It was on these two. And he'd start like, I never liked it. It made me feel dirty. Like I tried my hardest not to get him.
You started to get erect.
Because I always just wanted the Filipino women to cut my hair. It's because you can do the whole elbow thing.
I bet he didn't have many contacts.
Yeah. Oh, someone built that hand for him.
Yeah, robotic hand. Probably was like
Freddy Cougar, but I need a glove, not with knives though, but with dicks on the finger. What do you do? Oh, I cut men's hair on or I cut military hair on a base. Oh, this
shit! What? We haven't been recording at all.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I don't know what happened.
God. How long have we been doing this? An hour? No way.
No. Ready?
Shut up.
I'm serious. We don't have to go through all that. Fuck. I have no idea. I have no idea why I didn't do it.
Is the YouTube still going?
Yeah. Please subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
All right.
Yeah, if you got to run too, whenever it's.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's rehearsed now.
Yeah, it'll be completely different the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
God dang it. Is it recording now?
Yeah.
I thought I heard you get a text earlier, and I was like.
So, and did it? I did?
Well, I was like, usually I don't get text when we're
No.
recording, but
Well, no, it'll sometimes a text will throw it off. I've been having trouble with this app lately. You ready?
yeah. Motherfucker.
That's why I need to transition to computer.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Spearhead Transmission. It's June 28th, 2017. It's time to break those chains and water that tree.
Take 2.
So we just talked for 30 minutes, probably 20 minutes. And
I think it's okay though. I think you're all right.
And
It's not going to shock
just
you.
realized we
Maybe it will.
weren't recording at all. So if you're on YouTube, we're gonna try to do over what we just did.
Yeah, in YouTube you get
Twice.
double the exposure.
Yeah. So we've got a guest in the studio tonight. We got Adam, my hairdresser,
From Or Salon
or salon
on
in Tulsa.
15th and Columbia
Yes, sir.
in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hello.
Nick's going to pay for your haircut if you're Irish.
Yeah, if you're an Irish listener and you come to America, I'll pay for your haircuts for a year. But you gotta
go there.
yeah, you got to come here to go to his salon. Because we can't seem to get the people from Ireland to talk to us, but there's always people downloading it there.
I don't know why.
Someone's got to jump on that opportunity, right? Like, well, fuck, I'll go get a haircut in America. At least get one.
Uh-huh.
Good one.
Yeah, it's real good.
Excellent haircut. We're glad to have you here, Adam.
Yeah. I was going to ask you to
I'm
do
glad to be here.
I was going to ask you to do an Irish accent, but
I can do an Irish accent. It's my Australian accents that are bad. That's a jig.
Mate.
So it's hard for me to talk about. We already talked about.
No, let's
already.
don't. We don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
YouTube listeners get that.
Oh yeah, it's exclusive content for YouTube subscribers. What's the deal with the? Oh, that's the old one. I was gonna say the YouTube. You look like you got a bag on your head.
It's my haircut. I gotta go see Adam.
So
let's give a rundown, quick rundown of what we did. Ariel Winter's boobs.
Yeah. She's talking about fake news. Russia's no longer
a threat.
A threat. And the media pushes agendas.
Overton windows.
And it's when it's reporting. So however you react to a story that you read or hear on the news, you should take a step back and think. Maybe
chill the fuck out.
This is how they want me to react, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right, good.
Missed a lot of good stuff, so check it out on YouTube.
It might work.
But I do want to talk on the podcast about the connections that one can make being a hairdresser, because I would think there's a few people that have the ability to contact numerous people. One being a hairdresser like you, and a dentist. I feel like a dentist could get a lot done too.
He's got his fucking hands in your mouth all the time.
I've got a dentist also.
Yeah, we'll think about it like, hey, you need to get a cap. Well, was my insurance covered? Well, I pay this much. Well, how much is left? Like $400 or something. Like, oh man, well, I got this rifle my dad gave me. You take that? Like, hell yes, I'll take that. Because I mean, it's just
no shit.
Because I've known lawyers that do a lot of trading and as a defense lawyer, he always gets cars and shit, because people can't pay him directly. But I mean, on the haircut side, it's just everyone's getting their haircut. Now, you don't have anything to do other than sit there and talk when you're getting your haircut, right? So it's like, what do you do? Well, I'm an international mercenary. Oh yeah, well, hey, So then you have
an internet.
Yeah, like a big client list, and I'm sure it's not intrusive or whatever if you text them up and you're like, hey man, I need
this
whatever.
Yeah. That makes sense. You know, I'd have go ahead.
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say
You're the
have a
guest.
great rapport with my people.
Yeah.
So, you know, and typically the ones that I can't establish that or for whatever reason, you know, typically eventually
fade,
move
right?
on, fade. But I've got a great clientele.
So I have a question about being a hairdresser, and here it is. Or, I mean, even it probably goes to everybody that cuts hair, right? So
this thing says Jay Dyer.
It shouldn't say it. It should say Nick's Hairdresser
On YouTube, unless I'm watching last week's.
No,
it's this week.
no, it's not. It's not
It says
right.
episode 177, Spearhead Transmission, Jay Dyer tonight.
No, look here. Look at this. You see this, Adam? What does that say? Episode 178, Spearhead Transmission, Nick's Hairdresser.
Nick's Hairdresser.
All right. I do have a question about this. And it says we're live. Anyways. All right.
I've got
What's
the
wrong
old
with you?
background. I've seriously, mine says the old stuff, but it says Jay Dyer.
Well, we're all right. It'll change.
Okay.
It'll change when it gets updated. All right. So here's the deal, man. I don't know how to react. I don't know how to react. I don't know how to act when I'm getting my hair cut. Like I don't know if I'm supposed to talk or not supposed to talk, or if I'm, because unless it's somebody that I'm comfortable with, right? Like so when you go to somebody new to get your hair cut, it's always this kind of like, I don't know if they're like, because you guys hear the same shit all day long, I'm sure. Yeah, it's hot outside. Oh, it's this. I mean, like, how do we take it? How does the customer, like, what are we supposed to share in that realm? like,
What's off limits?
Yeah, well, like.
So that's actually more on me.
Okay,
So
all right. So
a
you're to
haircut,
guide it.
You could do great hair and just be
Asshole.
a shitty person, and you're not going to be very busy. But you could do mediocre hair and that rapport I was talking about, and that's on me to bring up, to break the ice. That's a big part of it, and get people, to be comfortable, and that's how the ball gets rolling. But yeah, I mean, if in my opinion, if they're not talking to you, trying to get to know you or break that ice, then it's not good.
Is fucking videos of no. It's just no. I've got my hair cut before at places, and I cannot talk, just be totally cool, just being silent. Right? What the fuck is going on? But I've been places too, like the chain ones, like
Cost cutters.
I don't know the not sports clips.
Supercuts.
Yeah, like the mall places.
Master cuts.
And I've got my hair cut and not said, one word, and then the other times it's like real forced, like
uncomfortable silence that you're trying to break.
Like, yeah, I'm at work. Oh.
Well, and see, here's another thing. Obviously, I'm going to talk to Nick about certain things. And then, some of my amazing older ladies that come to me, I'm obviously not going to talk to them about the same thing. And so that you've got to adapt. And
so you're like a fucking chameleon out there cutting hair.
Exactly, because you're going to be awkward, in like a Nick situation.
Talking about me about an old Buick I talk about Buicks, I guess, my old ones.
Too.
Yeah.
Can you not color my hair blue anymore? I don't like this blue hair.
I would blue hair. That's part of the pre podcast talk we had there. That how did the people get bad hair? Manage to leave with bad haircuts?
Yeah.
Like, hey, shave it right down the middle, light the sides on fire, and like frizz it out, and then it's kind of like puff it. Like what? Okay, it's what you want. It's what you get.
You want to talk about awkward conversations, and I'm not talking about the knockouts on Memorial. You know, they wear, you know.
Yeah, if you wear that, I'm not coming back.
Skimpy clothing. Well, do you guys remember the place that was off of Harvard? And it was like back in that, there was like a Spirit Bank building.
Yeah.
So
I've got a business card from there to go there, and I never went.
Oh, down on like 51st and Harvard or near there?
Yeah.
What was that called? Eye Candy Cuts.
They were topless.
Was it Eye Candy Cuts?
Yeah, and it got shut down.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. But
That's got to be horrible.
Think how awkward that would be.
Well, think how itchy it would be.
I wouldn't.
I tried to do
like
the
I
elbow,
wouldn't feel
the
awkward
boob.
being there getting my hair cut. That'd be fine.
You would? I don't know.
I'd be all right. You're just like
I would look at the boobs less than I would if they were clothed, though. You know what I mean? Even though you're supposed to in that setting.
I'd be
be
doing
doing
this move.
That's what I do anytime unless it's Adam cutting my hair.
You don't want to get an elbow full of nuts.
It's that dance, elbows up side to side. It's the same way with I can't say that now because I got a female dentist, but anytime you're at the dentist and the guy his friends was talking about going to a dentist, he said there's this black lady, she's real pretty and had huge boobs, right? And she's cleaning his teeth. And he said, man, she reached up over and he's like, I swear to God, her boob went in my mouth. And he's like, I had that thing on with the rubber on it. And he's like, I didn't know what to say. And she apologized. And he's like, The dentist is the same way though. But the dentist talks to you and
you can't talk back.
Say shit. You got a mouthful of spit like, yeah, whatever.
You like dicks in your mouth?
No. I don't like being here at all, but no, it is funny though. I would feel like I'd get to a point where I'd just be like repeating
your spiel,
my spiel.
So yeah, I think it does take a special type of person that's extroverted to be out there.
Maybe not because I mean if I was
charismatic,
I guess you get to know the people, so then you know like they do this and they do that, or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, I
like this guy makes refrigerators. So, or is big into like making his own sausages. Like make any sausages,
Yeah, I mean, you truly learn about their family and for whatever reason, my brain just works that way. And so if so and so comes in, I pretty much know how many kids they have, their kid's name, their husband's name. I feel like I'm talking like a robot.
You
right now?
Yeah. Am I?
No. Yes, you are.
My daughter's on this thing right now. My youngest daughter keeps saying that she's like, a robot got me. I have no idea where that came from. If it's all my Terminator talk, like I've been telling my kids that machines are gonna come alive and kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't told them that. But seriously, she's like, monster got me. I'm like, oh yeah, robot got me. Okay, like I don't even know if you know what a robot is.
So that's weird because my daughter, the first time that she's been scared now in the last like forever, like really actually scared of something, and she was like, some kids told me about Mary Blood at school or Bloody Mary or whatever, and she was like, they were like, she lived in the 90s, and I was to me I was like, she lived in the 90s. I was like,
you know what?
90s. I lived in the 90s.
When I was a kid, though,
I
was at my friend's house, and they talked about Bloody Mary in the mirror. That's what it is, right? You said Bloody Mary in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was terrified of his house, too. I was over there like, fuck, I can't sleep. I was like, I was in the kitchen getting some cereal. All the lights are on. I kept turning the lights on in the house, like, I cannot go to sleep here. I ended up falling asleep.
She was telling me this, and I was like, look. Bloody Mary doesn't exist. She never has, and if she came in this house, I'd rip her head off.
See, you ruined
it. My daughter was like, oh, you can do that? I was like, yeah.
You ruined. See, like nowadays, it's gonna be like this before.
I don't want her to be scared of Bloody Mary.
See, I've been telling my kids like, you fight it or whatever. Like, what do you do to monsters? My daughter's now like, punch them. Punch.
Oh well, I
monsters.
guess I didn't think about it, but
no, I'm not. I'm just fucking with you, but. Like when I was a kid in Bloody Mary, like I believed is it like it's gonna come out of the mirror, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, kids can go like, hold on, that's fake. Says it right here on Google, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's no air of mystery anymore on any
well,
of that shit.
I mean,
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you can't do anything. Like I try my hardest not to look, like, hey, what's that movie with so and so? Like Casey and I were trying to figure out who the sausage king of Chicago was.
Abe Froman.
Yeah, could not remember.
When you were talking about it a minute ago, I was like, that's Abe Froman.
Could not remember it. And she's like, don't look on your phone. I was like, all right, I won't. And I was sitting there like, it's going to come to me in a second. Because all I think of in these phones, and we've talked about this before, is that's eventually going to get implanted into you, right? To where you can just access it through your brain. You don't even have to type it in your phone. Like Abe Froman, Sausage King.
Mm-hmm.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Production by, whoever, John Leguizamo.
That removes the mysticism of our consciousness, though, of accessing all of that, like the whole mystic idea behind it. But to be honest with you, isn't that what this really is? Well, this is just all that is a substandard version of this. In my head,
this thing remembers a hell of a lot more than this.
Yeah, but probably not. It's just that thing is easy to access, right? Like I think what happens is we lose the capability of accessing all of it. But I would venture to guess that this has generational memory. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can tap into stuff that's even from our forefathers throughout, like even like being able, I know that sounds crazy.
What?
Yeah, what? Like I would say that I would venture to guess that the mind, however you want to view that, can reach back into history.
Back in time?
I almost positive. Well, I like just think about it. For instance, think about animals. Like why the fuck does why does instinct work in animals? Like why does a cat that's never seen a snake in its entire life could see a cucumber laying on the ground and think it's a snake or whatever, right? Like, and
is
no,
that what happens there?
I don't know. I'm that's probably not the case. But like, or a monkey that's never seen it, that's been raised in captivity, sees a snake and flips the fuck out, right? Like, why does stuff like that happen? It's because it's got to be something that's built into us. It's just as a human, we've polluted it, corrupted it.
My mind's full of fucking movie quotes and
right. Like it's filled up with other things, right? But I gotta think, man. You look at every animal out there that, like I said, you could be like a tiger's natural prey or whatever and that natural prey grows up in captivity and smells a tiger and is like, oh shit.
There was a article on. There was a show on OETA or something on crows, and they took these crows. I don't know why I feel the need to say it. I think we talked about this before.
We have,
podcast,
but that's fine.
Anyway, so they got these crows.
I like crows.
Is that your back? Oh, I was like, God, you need to contact your chiropractor. No, but so they got these crows, and this guy, he walks around with this mask on, and I guess he like agitates the crows.
Mm-hmm.
See, there it is. My head automatically goes, Steve, grab that stick and agitate the hell out of this snake. Which is just a cartoon quote, but anyway. So he agitates these crows, and then they wait. I think it was just one generation. It was just one generation, and then they come back to the same place. So these crows have had
I
kids,
remember this.
Baby crows.
Little baby crows.
Little babies. And there's nothing going on. They pull that guy pulls that mask on, and then those crows start like cawing. They've had no reason to know that certain mask is bad or anything, but yet they know. And that the show was saying that the parents teach the young, But I mean, I know crows are really smart, but what's the crow sitting up there on the side? Like, oh, hey son, that mask, that's bad news. I remember that. Now let's go steal some fucking gold chains or whatever.
I like crows.
I do too. to get one as a pet.
My dad had 3 as a pet.
Really?
Did they? Or did he? They. Someone told me like you can cut their tongue and they can talk. Like
those mockingbirds can do that.
Can talk?
Yeah, the ones I think they even had them in Guam, if I remember right.
The only birds they had in Guam were those black ones that look like they're
black
from,
with the orange on them, right?
Legend of the Dark Crystal. You remember
Yeah.
that show? Those vultures in there. These birds were rough looking, man.
I do
Feathers
remember
missing,
those.
and then you run down the road and they just beat the shit out of you, pecking your head. But he had 3 crows.
Yeah.
Dude,
3 Stooges.
were they trained and everything?
I mean, kind of. They would always come back, but then one day they.
They said, "Fuck it, we're out of
that's
here."
the thing too. I know it's illegal.
Yeah, you can't own a migratory bird.
You can't own crows and you can't own I want an owl.
Yeah, you can get a license to own an owl.
Yeah,
but I heard they shit all over the place.
Well,
and
here's the
spit
thing:
those pellets up. Like
here's the thing. Yeah, you'd either want a room devoted to the owl. Like, do not go in there.
Yeah, fucking place
shit everywhere. The owl's loose.
And then what do you gotta?
Yeah, like peek the door open. That thing does the whole. Fuck! Run!
Even creepier, it's like staring out the window.
Then does the.
And then the head, completely turns around.
No, if I had a pet,
he knows we're here.
If I had an owl, I'd want it. I want it outside, and I could be like, get it to come down, and land on my hand, like
at night.
Beastmaster. Yeah,
Beastmaster. I love Beastmaster.
Claw the shit out of your arm, like oh.
Speaking of birds, when we were in California, we stayed in Bodega Bay.
Yeah,
that's where they filmed the movie The Birds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we saw the restaurant.
That's Alfred Hitchcock movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
another movie I saw.
Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
I caught
that movie scared me to death.
Was it in black and white?
It was in black and white.
Yeah, because me and my brother would watch, and I don't know why, but we'd watch The People's Court at night on this little black and white TV when we were kids. And I watched The Birds one night on it, and I remember being terrified. Think about that though, like if birds were to attack you.
Yeah, it's a scary movie.
I mean, now I don't really think it's that big of a deal.
But as a kid, it's scary. And you'd think about horror back then.
It's all got to do with that.
It's all implied.
Yeah.
Right now it's all like, oh, we want to be as shock value as possible.
Here's the thing too, is I've been, like I said, been watching that Unsolved Mysteries on Amazon. Got every Unsolved Mysteries from Amazon, or from when it was made on Amazon, and I'll watch.
Do you
those.
like the ones with the new guy?
I haven't seen them yet. I'm still in the Robert.
You're still
Stack.
with Robert Stack.
Those things, and they're not like some of them. Like the one story, the one that I can think of recently that freaked me out was a story about 2 guys that they found. A guy was coming down a railroad track on a train. He said he saw something on the tracks, and then he got close enough. He saw it was 2 bodies. And it was 2 boys laying.
That's fucking Mina.
Yeah, it's 2 boys.
That's Clinton.
2 boys laying on a track. He runs them over, kills them obviously, and so it's just talking about the investigation of it, right? It's not like demons or ghosts or anything, and they said that there was a guy spotted the night that they were missing in camouflage, not the night, a week before they're missing, and the cop tried to stop and talk to him. He turned and shot at him, ran off, and got away, right? Well, then that same night there was a report of that guy being seen like 200 yards from where they died. For some reason, watching that, I was like, getting that whole like, it's not scary. But something about shit back then, I guess the
implication of what was there,
because people
what's
can say
happening.
like, "Have you seen Insidious?" Like, yes, I've seen Insidious. It's dumb as hell. I not dumb as hell, but
I've never seen it. I don't know what it is.
It's
I don't watch horror movies now. I think they're stupid.
But if I watch the Mothman Prophecies, like
different.
Yeah, see, I can't watch that.
That's
shit.
scary.
Jerry loves all of that.
Really?
Her favorite genre is horror.
Horror movies?
Yeah.
Like even new ones?
She will sometimes go out with your friends and she will turn off all the lights and put on the craziest shit you can imagine.
Really?
Yes. I'm not even lying.
I feel like now that the horror genre. I guess because all mine's exposure's based on Netflix and new releases and stuff like that. I feel like it's all shit.
I think it's not even horror though anymore. It's more
just like a shock.
It's like, oh, he's fucking, that guy just sewed that person's head to that other person's asshole.
Yeah.
And now they're,
well,
like, I
see. And it's the they try to they drop a book and it's supposed to jerk you or whatever. Like the last horror movie I saw was the Witch. I like that one.
Blair Witch?
No, The Witch.
Oh, okay.
With the dude, Philip the Goat.
Yeah.
Black Phillip. I haven't seen
it. Old English. It's good, but it's not. There's not a lot of.
Is it more implied?
Yeah, it's just creepy, right?
Well, look at Blair Witch.
I like that movie too.
I like that movie. Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, and it's just the imagination.
The guy in the corner.
One,
at the end, you're like, oh shit, he's done.
The second one was shit. Other than that,
I didn't see
one
the
girl
second
was
one.
good looking. The goth girl.
I didn't see the second one.
It's dumb as hell.
I seen that. You see that movie, that Paranoia or not?
Yeah, Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity. The first one, right?
First one was good
because it was different than Blair Witch because it was demons, right? So you think the first one, like Blair Witch, was a witch, right? Which that had its impact on people, right? Like, oh, something spiritual, but then or something like supernatural. But then a demon is so closely related to like Christian, I guess the nature of the religion of the state, I guess, and so it's really able to get to the heart of the matter.
I thought of something today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see what you thought about it. So you always hear about these movies about demonic possession, right? Which The Rite with Anthony Hopkins is an awesome demonic possession movie.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Demon's like a ass. Donkey or whatever. He's in a donkey or something. I can't remember. It's a good movie. But so, always you hear about demonic possession. Do angels possess people?
Yes, that's a good point, right?
So if demons possess someone and then they're
an angel wouldn't think about it.
They're gonna do bad stuff, right? Like make you do bad stuff. But wouldn't an angel possess someone and then make them do good stuff?
No, because if you think the Christian doctrine would be it's all based on free will, right? And the idea is that according to the Bible, that the idea is to remove that free will, and that's what the devil doesn't want you to choose. He wants you to choose him, right? And a demon, if you allow a demon into you, then you're removing that free will and it's possession, the idea of it. So if an angel is working for God, then he obviously is going to, he wants you to have that free will. So why would an angel possess you to do something good? Get it?
I don't know.
Makes sense.
I think
an angel. How would it Then
washing your neighbor's car at 3 in the morning, smiling, good,
Jesus
man.
Loves you, boy.
What are you doing?
This guy's watching. That'd creep the.
Yeah, it'd be scary. Now the other scary movies I like, Mothman Prophecies, The Rite. I like Blair Witch, and then Fire in the Sky.
That movie's scary, dude.
That movie's scary.
Have you seen that movie?
Still.
It's about an alien abduction. Almost like a true story that they,
There's another one like that about an alien.
It's crazy.
There's one.
Dude.
What is it one now?
Where he sees the owl, but it's really an alien.
An owl?
Oh, that creeps me out for some reason right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
isn't there a new one out that is about that book that was written back in the day, the Communion book or whatever?
No, I don't know.
Is the one you're talking about new?
No, I mean not. What do you call new?
Oh, I don't know. New, like 2004, 2005, because that's about what year it is in, right?
That's probably.
I don't know.
4, 5, 6, 2007, 07. But they'll get glimpses in what they think is like an owl, but then as they get further in the movie, it's almost like whatever he's seeing is backing off.
It's Moloch.
It's actually
It's Moloch.
Ugh, that's creepy. Dude, aliens, I believe in aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But if it ever comes to when they're verified, kind of like when we were talking before, hey, there's a giant metallic thing floating off in space, It's going to be weird for me.
Well,
right?
just think about what that does. What that changes the whole. It changes.
Well, there's no way in my head right now that the entire everything's infinite, there's got to be something else. I mean, that in itself, if it's infinity, something would have to have happened out there somewhere else.
That's. It's funny you should say that. No, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking. So, just think if an alien ship popped up, like bam. Think about all of those. Think about all of those dominant religions in the world that just got completely blown up, right? Like
not necessarily
Christianity. Yeah, though. I mean, or the idea behind them, the idea behind it, like just because the Pope and all these people are now coming out and saying, well, we might believe that they're out there. Dude, roll back 200 years ago or 400 years ago or even 500 years ago, and you said you thought there were aliens, and you were a part of the church. Fucking, they were burned. They were shoving things in your body.
I even think. I mean,
I'm just saying that it's because we have to adapt to the idea because science is exposing this and saying, oh, okay, there are these infinite possibilities now out there, the universe, and how many worlds would have even the existence of water?
See, because that's where it gets hung up on water and oxygen.
Well, I'm not trying to get hung. I'm just saying that like we don't even know like a dimension. They could be dimensional travelers. They don't have to exist on water and air. It'd be fucking digital beings that come across and be like, they present themselves as done. It's still an alien. It's still foreign. It's still not part of this world as we know it,
you
right?
know Rob Lowe has a paranormal television show gonna come out.
Did you draw a picture of him?
I want to watch it. Rob Lowe's extra. He said he saw Bigfoot.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
Rob Lowe did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I went to the Alien Festival.
Soda Pop?
In Roswell.
Did you?
You did?
I've been to Roswell.
You guys really?
I haven't been to the Alien Festival, but was that pretty intense? A lot of Winnebagos or?
Not you would think, and it wasn't. Now it may be now, but it wasn't that intense.
Really?
It was decent, but hell, the night scene in Roswell is better than the festival. You know, just going into local bars and seeing.
Yeah,
we
drove.
Yeah.
We drove through there. In '99, I drove through there, and saw the sign. I had all the signs and the hotels and shit. And I've never. And the thing is, man, I've never seen an alien, a UFO. Yeah. Everything I've seen, I can somehow explain in my head. And I always look, like at night, I'm always looking up in the sky like, God, I want to see something, Never seen shit. I've seen satellites and I've seen stuff, but there's in my head, if I sit here and threw a needle at the microphone hole on this camera an infinite number of times, it would eventually go right in it, right?
Yep.
It's just like the whole thing you say, you take a pen apart and you put it in a plastic bag and you shake it.
It's gonna go back together one day.
Back
exactly.
together. If you do it infinity, it'll eventually go back together, right?
I agree.
So,
like completely apart.
Yes, but I mean, you got to think about the thing is the infinity that people because we can't grasp it.
Like 10 minutes, like still.
Like, oh, this is infinity. Well, fuck it, I'm done. No, infinity is not even millions of years. It's forever.
Starts fucking with my head. I think about that,
dude. You said you never seen an alien before. What is it?
I just saw a little white light go across that wall.
It's an angel trying to possess you.
I'm about to start washing your car.
Hey
boys, pull around front.
Have either of you experienced anything?
No, I haven't, but I have a story about a guy that I was in the army with.
Experienced what?
Spirits.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it was spirits. I mean, I've got ghost stories and stuff like that, but
oh yeah, you do have some ghost stories.
Like
the more creepy,
the more that time passes, I'm more like, well, that's probably nothing. You know what I mean? Like at the time, it was like,
yeah, but the one that you told whenever you said that you were a little kid and that one fucks with me.
Walked in my room.
Yeah.
But what were you gonna say? Well, I'll tell it after this.
All right. So this was
Harry.
And this guy's not like a guy that would tell stories like that. Very, very well. And I know I shouldn't preface that, but I gotta say the type of person that he is. Very mild mannered kind of guy that's taught himself physics. Is a programmer now. Totally family oriented kind of guy. Anyways, so he's telling me when they were and we were in the Army together, and he said we were in high school and we would go and he goes, I had a station wagon, we called it the Honey Wagon, and he said me and my girlfriend and my buddy and his girlfriend, we would all go camping, and they lived out in the middle of Utah in a place called Escalante, which is right out like near Bryce Canyon or all that. Zion's National Park, all that area, really a lot of what do they call those big plateau types?
Mesas?
Yeah, mesas, yeah. And he said out there it's really unpopulated. Like the town that he grew up in, maybe like 2,000 people at the most or whatever, right? And miles of desert. Well, he said he was driving down the road, and it was night, and they were driving to their camp spot, and he said, fuck, it still gives me creeps just the way that he explained it. But he's like, I'm going down the road and I'm driving, and it's late, and off to the left side of the road, he's like, I see this. It's just like a big white, almost like a big white flash as he's driving past, right? But the feeling he said it was like, it was huge, right? There's this giant being on the side of the road. And he said he couldn't explain it, but it looked like it was all looked like it was furry, right? Like, and not only him, he wasn't the only one that saw it, but his girlfriend saw it too, and she was like, I guess flipping out, and so
transdimensional Bigfoot,
right? So then they drive, and I guess they still got another like half hour to go, right? And then they get to where they're going. It's way out there, and as they set up the campsite, they're sitting in the campsite. They got a fire.
They got some balls, man.
Right after you see it,
is over.
After you see that, you would think that. But he's like, yeah, fuck it. He did the same thing that you would do. You rationalize it in your head. It was nothing, right? And so he gets there, and God, dude, I'm freaking out. So like, as they're, they got the campfire in the middle, and they're like almost like what you would think like how cowboys would camp, right? Like around the campfire with their sleeping bags like this. Mm-hmm. And he said behind him, he just felt this, like, just, it was there, right?
Yeah.
And he said he turned and looked, and he said he could see eyes, like but 10 feet away from him, but it was just dark enough, right? Like it was just like 30 minutes from whenever he saw it. So
sniffed him out.
So that even is creepier to me, because if it's 30 miles and you're driving, how did it get there that quickly? And then why would it not be like, I fucking eat you now? Like, I got your asses.
Well, have you seen the stride on that motherfucker?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've thought that too, like the like even ghosts, and I believe people ghost stories. They tell me, like one of people on YouTube saying that she saw her dead brother's ghost sitting on her couch smiling at her. Which, so you think about that, right? Like, you see pictures of like rocking chairs rocking, and, stuff like fucking with lights. Like, if that the afterlife, man, it's gonna be boring flipping lights on, or whatever. So like, what's the point behind that? Like that thing being out in the chase. So like you're saying, like, why didn't it eat them or take them to?
But that's
wherever, right?
Go back and think about what I said. Like, maybe it's an interdimensional type of, he's just fucking observing. That's what he looks like in his world, where he's just normal, like us. Like, he's not creepy. He's just like, I'm a fucking furry monster that lives in this. Not a monster. I'm a furry dude that lives in this other dimension. I'm vibrating in this other realm, and I can see these people. I'm observing, whatever, you know what I mean? Who knows? And then he's like, I'm not gonna.
Well,
That's
it's like
disgusting. I eat cupcakes.
Yeah.
Is what I eat for.
It's like that.
You can open that window if you want.
Like that line in Mothman Prophecy is like when he's talking about he's like, well, have these beings been here before? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, why don't they, try to talk to us instead of doing these cryptic messages or whatever? And like, well, have you ever tried to explain yourself to a cockroach? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. I haven't, like you were saying earlier, spiritual. I've seen what I thought was a ghost when I was a kid, which I was sick in the way my room was laid out. It was my bed was against the wall, and I had I had pneumonia, walking pneumonia, whatever that is. I think I was in the 4th grade. I mean, I was pretty sick, but I wasn't like delusional or anything, right? I mean, I just cough all the time and had fever. But one night I was coughing a lot, and my mom would always come in when I was coughing and like give me cough medicine, which when I think back, I'm like, man, lazy. Like, get up and get it yourself, in my head. But so I'd sit there and cough while I heard my door creak open, right? So, and I'm laying there, and I lean towards my door because I think I'm going to see my mom walking in the room. And it was shorter than my mom. I remember thinking that, it was this white thing walks through the door. So I like rolled over away. So I'm facing the wall now because there's a wall because my bed was just up against it, right? So I'm staring at the wall, like sweating, like what the fuck is that? And then so I kind of like roll back to look behind me, and it's standing or kneeling. That's what I remember thinking. It was kneeling beside my bed, like just sitting there. Wow. Like I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed, right? And I was like, oh shit. And then I don't know if I fell asleep or what, but I told my mom the next day, and my mom's like, your grandma was praying for you, so there's angels coming to help heal you and whatever. Like, and
that's the classic parent move, right?
I think I felt better, but I had that. I've had, little things where TVs come on. Like, my TV came on my barracks and the Navy, and I was do
you equate that to that?
What?
Like,
I just like that now. I mean, I remember when it did it because I was in my room. It was like 3 a.m. I don't even know what I was doing. I don't think I was awake. I think it's one of those things where you just wake. I woke up and it happened at the exact same time. Yeah. So I don't know if that was my head turning it on somehow. When I wake up and my TV did that. You could hear the static come across the screen, and I looked at it, and then it had blue. It was one of those big ass TVs, right? This is 90s.
Yeah.
And TV comes on, and I was like, huh. And I kind of got that like, ugh. Turn it off and went back to sleep, But
because I had that. Remember my ex-wife's. My ex-wife's dad died, and then we ended up having to go get his stuff, and he had a TV, and then we ended up putting it in our room. That TV fucking came on
by itself.
It came on by itself in the middle of the night, and I was trying to shut it off. I didn't have my remote in my hand.
There's weird stuff that's happened to me.
That's weird.
I pulled into a place in Guam where a bunch of local people back in World War II got massacred. And there was Japanese soldiers hoarded them down in these caves and threw grenades in there and killed them, right? And so once a year, like the Navy would allow people locals come in and for relatives and do stuff. Well, I was in this area at night. It was whatever. We had to patrol all the magazines. It had all these magazines out in the wood full of bombs and shit. So I'm in that area, and I was calling in that I was beginning a magazine check, which you had to go check the locks on all the doors. And there's usually 4 people stationed up there. I guess I should be saying this. 5 or 6, 7, 8, whatever. Anyway, there's a group of guys that's stationed up there, and most of them were I was up there with a bunch of my friends. Just so happened we were all up there together, and when I pulled into that spot, called in the radio, like, I'm starting, they gave me the time, and I felt something reach up and grab my shoulder. Like, squeeze my shoulder. So I put the Jeep in park, and I turned the lights on because I figured one of my friends had gotten in the car and was fucking with me, right? And I look in the back seat. There's no one back there. I mean, it's pitch black out, right? Because it's middle of the night. And so then I was like, oh, they're in the very, very back, the cargo. And I look back there. There's no one back there. And then hair on my neck stood up. And I was like, oh, God. Like, took the fuck off, right?
Yeah.
But see, even in my head now, I'm like, did that really happen the way I think it happened? I know it did.
Eden, it's weird because how we do that. It's like when something traumatic happens to people and how they deal with it, right? Like, even though that's not traumatic so much, it's surreal, right? Like, but when traumatic things happen to people, they deal with it. They say, oh, well, that wasn't that bad, right?
Or they don't remember.
Or they don't remember, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Adam? Anything weird spiritually?
You know, I had something weird happen to me. Jerry's parents had a house on the Illinois River, and I've never seen spirits or orbs or anything like that. But I was completely asleep, and I just remember like just this darkness coming over. So it's almost like I'm dreaming. But
I know where you're going here.
And this darkness came over me, and I was breathing very, very shallow, and I felt like I was awake, and I could not move.
It's called a lead blanket, right? Felt like a lead blanket was on top of you.
Yeah. So what's up with that?
That's called. So, have you ever heard of the term incubus or succubus? So succubus, a succubus is what that is. That's the true definition of a nightmare. What just happened to you? And
a female demon.
Laying on you, and you can't move. Your eyes are probably wide open, but everything's pitch black, and you're trying to yell, and you can't yell.
They say that it's caused by your brain is in REM.
But you're not.
But you're
asleep yet.
What do they call it though?
I don't know.
Night terror.
Yeah, it's a night terror or a true nightmare is what they call it.
I've had it before, and I've got out of it.
I was
sitting there and I was like,
I did the same thing.
Yeah. So kind of same thing. I pulled, and I think I even was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it woke Jerry up, and she was like, what the hell's going on? But
yeah.
That house was definitely haunted.
Well, I've heard stories about that house before.
Yeah. So I mean, what
I've had happen probably 3 times, maybe 4 times now, but 2 times for very 2 times where it was really hard to break out of, but then other times I've even had it recently within the last probably year and a half, and it was where I snapped out of it. But I've had one time where I was in the military and I had this roommate I've told this story on here. Guy was his name was Gaspar. He was a real introverted kind of guy, didn't ever get out, was real he was into he had been abused, right? And so the military was his home at this point, and he was very good at what he was very good at polishing boots, very good at, but had no self-esteem, zero self-esteem. And I had been living alone, but they threw this guy in there because I was extroverted, and they were like, hey man, you could help, get this guy, you could, do something. So they put him in my room, and this guy, I would be out late and I would come back, and our bunks were like this, right? So I would sleep my head here, and he would sleep on a top bunk over here, and the room is pitch black. It's bigger than this room, right? But so I got home, it's probably 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe 12, I don't know. And I lay down, and as soon as I lay down, as soon as I hit the pillow, I feel this. That hits me, but I hear, don't move, like that. And I'm like, frozen. And I can't fucking move. I mean, I'm like, and everything is, my room's already pitch black, right? But everything is frozen, and I finally break loose. I'm like, I was ready to pull that guy off the top of the bunk because I thought it was him. And I looked up there, and he was asleep. I was like, the fuck just happened? I'd never had anything like this happen before. And I was like, what is going on? And then I was like, who said that to me?
Yeah.
And so then I climbed up into the ceiling tiles and looked over the ceiling tiles, and one of my buddies was over there. I was like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on?" You know, we have concertina wire around the tops of the room, so there's no way that they could get over into my room. And he's like, "I don't know. What are you talking?" He's watching Jim Carrey movies or some shit, and I was like, you know, still bewildered. I didn't say anything. I says, "Was somebody up here in this?" And nothing.
And I think, like dreams. I mean, my wife always says dreams mean stuff, and I'm always like, man, dreams not shit. It's just your brain downloading like everything. But I've had dreams, and my wife's had dreams that, you know, come true or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what's crazy is I don't feel like I dream at all anymore. Or I don't remember it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
oh yeah, you open that window right there.
It's
be
hot
cool.
as hell out.
I'll turn up the air conditioner.
Huh?
Go ahead, keep talking. No, I got it. I'll turn up the air conditioner.
Anyway, I had this dream that when the dog that I had forever, Bruno, when he died, like I had this dream where I was out on this parking garage, you know what I mean? And did I tell you this? That dream about Bruno I had after he died?
You
yeah.
talked about it.
So I had this dream. You're on camera.
You're all right.
Anyway, on this parking garage, and I see my dog, and I was like, oh shit, you know, he's jumping around, playing and everything. And I'm like, man, Bruno's old. He can't be running around like that playing. And he's playing with his other dog, and they're running, jumping and shit, and like having a good time. And in my head, I'm like, he's got to stop. He's gonna be sore tomorrow. He's so old, and this and that. And this is like days after he died, right? And and then I saw that the other dog was my other dog that died some years before. That was his daughter.
Yeah.
And it's just weird, right? Like,
and
then I've never had a dream like that about him again ever since then. They like ran towards me and then ran off, and that was it, But recently, my uncle had cancer, and I knew he was going to chemotherapy, and far from what I was hearing before, it was doing well and this and that. And
you're all right, man. You're all right. You don't have to shut up.
One night is, like I said, I never have dreams, right? But I had this dream that my uncle had told me, like, hey, I don't have much time left here. Doctors say
That's
I've got
crazy.
like minute. He said I got like minutes to live, and I woke up and I was real upset, right? And it wasn't like a real upsetting dream. In my head, I was like, oh shit, that sucks. I don't like to hear that, or whatever. But I wasn't like crying in my dream or anything. When I woke up, I was like, fuck, I couldn't sleep. Couldn't go back to sleep. And the next day, I didn't even tell anybody about it. They took him to the emergency room, and then by the following Monday, he died. So how's my brain? Is that just a coincidence?
Does that
all this stuff? I feel like all this stuff's kind of.
Does it like kind of give you the whole idea of like oneness, like how?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where so it is synchronicity, and there is the time and space, or time and it's all actually just right here.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Me think that too, but the time especially.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, but. I mean, I think that's why it's a tool too, right? Like a lot of people use that as a tool as well.
I don't know, but I wanted to say something else too about when you're talking about when that guy drove past that thing and saw that white, but just knew it was big. Like at my house now, I've seen stuff at my house, but and for whatever reason it doesn't bother me. It doesn't give me bad feelings, or it doesn't give me the whole like ooh. But one night I was in. And it kind of goes on and off, but the other night I saw something I thought was a kid running down the hall. I thought it was one of my kids, and I looked out there, and there's no one out there, right? And this one night that I remember, I can't remember if I was laying in bed or however it happened. We're in our bedroom, and the door was not completely closed all the way, And it's always out of the corner of your eye thing. It's not a full on.
Yeah.
You can't look. In the corner of my eye, I got the feeling that there was a man standing in the door, like just watching, and it was like a dad, you know, and he's in the door, but I couldn't see it. You know what I mean? It's what I mean. It's the same thing. Like I just knew, or whatever reason, that's what I was getting from whatever was
going on right there.
And like I said though, didn't make me like, oh God, what is this?
Yeah.
But I've had that a lot at our house, our new house. It's just like I always feel like it's that, what do they call it, string theory?
Yeah, where it's just
these two different
running into each other.
You know, dimensions or existences.
That's kind of the synchronicity.
Yeah, or like
right.
come close together. And like so in that house and
in that
dimension,
universe,
that guy lives there. You know, or maybe that's my wife's husband in that universe. You know.
Or it's you in that universe. You're like, man, motherfucker is lazy sitting down.
He had a suit on.
So we're kind of asking for it, but in September, have you guys heard of Waverly Hills? It was a tuberculosis hospital that I can't remember how many square feet it is, but it's like ridiculous. Well, they have night tours.
Is that in Eureka Springs?
No. This is like in Tennessee, maybe.
Okay.
Tennessee, maybe. So we are going to something like that. It's not Waverly Hills because it books up like a year in advance, but it's one like that, and they basically let your group in. It's going to be like a private group of 12 of us, and you can bring your meters or whatever, and you spend all night. You can go anywhere you want in this old, you know. Actually, I think this one is there's pretty like bad energy. It was like,
oh really?
Yeah. But anyway, so you just spend all night and you wander around and do research, and they have like different balls and stuff in there. So like if you feel something, you can push the ball around, see if you get anything back. And that actually happened to my friend Emily, who she travels all over doing these hospitals, and she has video on her phone of pushing a ball, and it's almost like it just went. And it just went the other direction.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she said it was, the energy there was just ridiculous.
There's places like that. I mean, you can walk into a house. Like sometimes you go into a house or whatever, you know, you can just does not feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
That's Waverly Hills. So that's the one you can just.
Ugh. It looks spooky. Ever seen that movie Session 9?
Yeah, I wouldn't go there. That looks like my high school.
Session 9?
No.
That sounds familiar.
These dudes are doing an asbestos abatement in an insane asylum, an abandoned insane asylum. And they're like scraping the walls, and one guy finds some old recordings of like when they're doing interviews with the patients there, and one of them had like multiple personalities, and like had a little boy and a girl voice, and so like he'd be talking and the voice would change, and there was a guy named Gordon. No, not Gordon. That's at the end. That's the line. That's my head. The line, "Do it, Gordon," because he kills this person, you know. But that movie's creepy just because of the scenery. Like it's an old hospital, right?
They have one of those old like hospitals, or it was converted to a hotel in Eureka Springs, right?
That's the one where a dude just died, right? No, the Crescent Hotel is where the guy just died.
Yeah, Crescent Hotel is where. Didn't we stay there? Didn't you go? No, we didn't. No, where did we stayed in?
No, the Crescent's
cabin.
Haunted.
Cabin, that's right.
Yeah.
Crescent's haunted, but there's that hotel that's in the middle of town that they converted to, or it was a hospital that's been converted to a hotel.
That guy was.
That's
like
creepy.
Stuff. He was just trying all kinds of experiments on.
Yeah, like. Yeah.
And then he ended up dying of cancer.
That's crazy.
What's weird is you can talk to people that are dead set that there's absolutely nothing beyond this existence. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean that's fine or whatever. That's how they want to believe. But I just there's so many things. I mean, even though I brush stuff off as like, oh, that's not what I thought it was, or it's not ghosts or demons or aliens. It's still like something's happening, right? Like something.
Yeah.
Be it.
I think so.
Wires crossing or dimensions crossing or There's just too much. There's weird stuff that's not.
Here's what I think is like. I don't think that it's. I think that the stuff that's crossing and all that weird stuff. I don't think it's harmful. I don't think that it can. I don't think that can harm you unless you want it to harm you. I don't know how to explain that, but like, accept it yeah, like I think that I think that if say it's interdimensional, right, or whatever it is, transdimensional, transdimensional Bigfoot, right? Transdimensional Bigfoot's not. This is our dimension. This is where we operate. This is so it'd be like you jumping in the water with a shark, right? Like you're not gonna fuck that shark up, even though you think you will.
That's what I'm saying. Easy. Punch it in the gills.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that we're the top predator. It's just that we're the top mind in this dimension at this point. And then those, I don't know. I just don't think that it can harm you unless you want it to harm you, or you allow it to harm, or you accept something that allows you to harm. Like,
it definitely can't physically harm you.
Yeah, like. When I was a child, whenever I told you that I seen that like a guy that was demonically possessed, right? Like dude rolled in off the street, flipping the fuck out. We were at church, right? Like I shouldn't have been at church. I wasn't supposed to be in there at that particular time, but I was in the back, and I was because there was like a play area behind all the pews in a room, and I was like, oh yeah, because we lived right behind the church, so I would
come
to
church for fun.
Fuck yeah, man! Yeah,
it's like the worst plan in the world.
I agree, but
hey, what do you guys want to do? Let's go to church.
So they were all in there, and some dude rolls in off the street, and he is flipping out, and all these people started praying for him, and he's like, rolling around on the ground. And he's yelling at everybody, getting in their faces. I was like, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you to my grandma. Mm-hmm. My grandma was like, praying away.
Bullshit, like, yeah. Bitch.
I got the power of God. Damn. Right? Or whatever. No. But, yeah, so dude was... And I told you the story about that whole church, about how the...
snake handling church, wasn't it?
No, it was just a standard just church, right? But
church.
Just church, right? Like, so... But the
like
guy who...
beer.
Yeah, it was generic church.
Beer.
But the guy who started the church was he's a great guy. Like, he recently died, but I mean I knew him since I was a little kid, and then he moved on. But he started the church, and then the guy that wanted to run the church, his name was Larry. I remember Larry, and he had and his wife and all of them. Well, come to find out, Larry was a converted high priest in the Church of Satan in Florida, right? And so he wanted to be, he was like I'm sold out for Jesus now, right? Like, but he ended up shooting his wife and shooting himself
afterwards.
Yeah, at the like a year after we left, and then his some creepy stuff with that.
Why do I feel like this podcast is dark since I've
been
here?
Just wait till we leave, because every time I leave and we talk about creepy shit and you look down the road that way, I'm going to get spooked. I may not see foam my car. I'll be out there and devil's going to show up, fucking white Sasquatch.
Maybe he'll help you.
Like, hey, man, hold the RPMs at 1,000 over the idle.
Why don't you spray it in there, devil?
All right. Yeah. This fumes are... noxious.
Hey, are we gonna talk about that beaver that attacked?
Yeah, we're changing gears right now.
All right,
I'm gonna play a commercial though. That one.
This felt dark.
Huh?
It's getting scary.
Are you getting scared?
No.
Scared?
I will when I go out there. I guarantee it.
We're gonna go
fucking road. Yeah.
It's so funny that your picture on there because it looks nothing like you.
Which one? The other one? It's because it got a fake beard on it.
Oh, the other one?
That's a vagina.
That is a vagina.
Or at least that is. Someone told me that picture of us is horrible. It said my forehead looks like wrinkly.
And we need to take
sack.
a different picture. Look at that. It's a wolf.
We do need a different picture. That's from the glory days of Urbonics, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Hot Zone. We start this first one out. It's a local story. Newson6.com. I gotta say that the opinions stated on this podcast may not. What's it say?
You're supposed to. They don't reflect the
views of Or Salon.
Or Salon, yeah, but they do reflect our views.
The podcast views.
We can't have a disclaimer.
Maybe the opinions expressed on this podcast may not reflect.
Being a caregiver for my husband is a big labor of love.
The automatically played. Go ahead.
Dude, all right, so this is from newson6.com.
The opinions on this podcast definitely reflect our opinions.
Okay.
Is that tequila?
No, this is Scotch.
Oh, okay.
Dude, this website fries my computer at work. I don't know what they've got on it tracking-wise, but... All right, I can't read it. Anyway, it's titled Amendment to Panhandling Ordinance Could Impact TFD Fundraiser. So everyone knows around Tulsa... the Tulsa Fire Department has Fill the Boot campaign, right, where they stand at the intersection and you fill this boot with change and money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, right?
Right.
So there was a law written putting
that's for muscular dystrophy?
Yeah.
That's not to help the firemen?
No.
I always thought it was to help the firemen.
Well, that's
Me
what
too.
some people in the comments
I'm not fucking giving you guys any money.
Someone put on the comments like, it's pretty sad that the fire department has to panhandle for money to fund their fire department. I'm like, no, it's for muscular dystrophy.
This guy, I guess, because I never rolled down my window.
Well, so there's a law passed in Tulsa. I can't read this, or I'd tell you.
Well, you want me to read it?
You can't step into a street to fundraise, right, or get money, and it's to stop people from begging for money at intersections or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So, they felt it was important enough to make a law in the name of safety. That's what it's under, to keep people safe, keep them from being hit. And, in the comments on these things, says the only people that should be in a street are the police and the fire department because it's dangerous else, otherwise, right? So the whole point of this is the fire department, it's a good thing, right? They're trying to make money for this Muscular Dystrophy Association. So it's a good thing, right? I'm not against that. Mm-hmm. What I'm against is they're trying to amend it now so that the fire department, you can't go out there and ask for money and step in a street. That's illegal. It's too dangerous for you.
Yeah.
But us, we as the government and our employees, we can do it.
Yeah. But then if they get fucked up, then it's on the taxpayer to pay it.
Well, yeah, regardless though, this is a perfect example of, and I was thinking about this the other day. So you drive through a construction area. It says, slow down, don't hit our workers, avoid a $10,000 fine. If I'm walking down the road and someone hits me, do I get to fine them $10,000, or is somehow someone that works for the state worth more? Right?
The value.
If you shoot a police officer, it's automatic death penalty, right?
So
or
this
in the movies.
So this article says that you get $10,000. You get fined $10,000 if you hit a firefighter.
No. That's have you seen the construction zone things?
Oh. LED sign, I've seen it.
Yeah, it says, "Watch out for our workers. Avoid a $10,000 fine." So if you hit a construction worker on the road, it's gonna be
$10,000 fine.
$10,000, right?
But who gets the money?
I don't know. Never.
Fucking state gets the money. Well, you think the construction worker is going to get the $10,000 fine?
No, I don't think that at all. But what it means, and it's in that
the Mexicans running around getting hit all the time. Be like,
what I think's funny is, or not funny, but
I'm Mexican.
You're Mexican. You can say that. What book was that? Who wrote that book that said that you can tell what the state thinks of you by how they protect their own or whatever? Is that
that's definitely a Ayn Rand premise, but
so placing government employees on a different level than you, right? Mm-hmm. I guess you're kind of reaching by saying that, allowing the fire department to stand in the streets. But I mean, there's specific stuff in place now to where, just like fucking the healthcare bill, like you got to buy this healthcare, but we're exempt from it. You got to do this, but just like the magazine bans in New York City, like, you can only have 7 rounds in your magazine.
But
we can have more. Why do you need more? Well, you might need those extra rounds to stop someone from killing me. Can I have that same? Can I have that same right as you guys? We're all the same people, right? You're not royalty.
No, they got magic costumes and badges.
This fucked up. Like,
I mean,
have people been plowing through panhandlers to make it to where we need a law to where they can't stand in the street? And I think it's funny too. People are like, "Well, people quit giving them money, they quit asking for it." Like, no, they won't. and
who cares if they ask for it?
Well, and I know they're just drinking, and some of
them
are.
Who gives a fuck? That's your choice to give him money.
Yeah, and some of them are like professional panhandlers, but like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, leave it up to the person.
Yeah, like, I'm not obligated to give you money. What? Because you can't make eye contact? Because you feel guilty if you make eye contact with the guy that's holding a sign that says
plus
veteran and homeless, got no teeth. Who gives a fuck? If you don't want to give him money, don't give him money. If you want to give him money.
Do you think that law is stopping those people from getting
No.
Just another way for, and I think it's funny too, is it said if they're fined that it can go to court. Like, if a guy doesn't have money, he's begging for money, and you're going to fine him, what sense does that make? Hey, I've got no money. I'm begging. Please give me money. That's illegal. That's a $200 ticket. I don't have any money. I'm begging for it.
But that's
right now.
Perfect. The reason why is because it's a perfect opportunity to throw him in jail and get taxpayer money to pay for him to be in jail.
Well, they did say that that the judge can, depending on the financial situation, make it disappear. So then what's the point of the fucking law?
All right, what's next?
The beaver attacks.
Oh,
but
beaver.
It's not opening on my computer.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Spate of beaver attacks puts swimmers on high alert in Switzerland. Oh, these are beavers in Switzerland?
Dude, yeah.
Swiss beavers.
Blonde beavers. So
yodeling beavers.
This black hole represents how it feels when you're too busy to keep up with your customers.
I don't know how to shut that one off.
This black hole. What do you say?
This black hole. It's going to be another ad.
So
it's going to be a guy, Eldon. It's going to be another somebody making hot dogs. Fucking thing. Okay. A burst of attacks by a hyper-aggressive beaver has put wild swimmers in Switzerland on high alert. Man, why the fuck does that not ever happen to me? Locals in the Alpine city of Schaffhausen. You like that?
You said that well.
Uh-huh.
You're good at German accents.
Uh-huh. And Irish.
I don't know about
that. Have been told this. You know what it was? I'll tell you what it was. Is I was forced to read it. If I was just making up my own Australian accent, I would have been fine.
Rise up lights.
Rise up lights.
German torque specs.
Mm-hmm.
Good and tight.
Good and tight.
It's a virgin. It's a virgin. Locals in the Alpine city of Schaffhausen have been told to stay out of the water after 2 bathers were wounded by a single animal in the space of 1 week. It's locked up. Hold on. There we go.
Dude. Yeah, 2 beaver bites. Dude, this is part of that cyber attack, I think. I got nothing over here.
It says an 8-year-old boy and an adult woman have so far fallen prey to the toothy mammal which lives in the River Rhine. According to the newspaper 20 Minuten, the beaver bit the boy once on the shoulder and once on the bottom before swimming away. The same evening, a woman was bitten on the leg and was hurt so severely she needed to go to the hospital. Beavers are not known for mounting attacks on humans, but can become aggressive if they feel their nests are under threat. Officials in Schaffhausen have confirmed that they will erect beaver warning signs in the area to warn would-be swimmers to beware of potential attacks. Why the fuck is this so funny to me? I can't, because like my brain is taking it down the wrong.
Thinking of snapper.
Like, yeah, every time. Like,
well, it's funny because it sounds like cartoon or something. Like they're gonna put up signs. Caution, beaver. You know?
Picture
wild beaver.
Picture this big brown beaver with
you know what?
long teeth.
What gets me though is when I was a kid, we got a hold of that Army survival manual, and it said that you can eat beavers, right?
You fucking read the comments.
No.
Mama always said there would be beavers that will send you to the doctor. I mean, that's probably true.
No, so
wrap it.
The Army that Army survival manual said you can eat beaver, right? Obviously. Yes. But it said, find a beaver dam, damage the dam, and then hide. And it said when the beaver comes to repair the dam, you grab it by the tail and you swing it into a tree, right? And it said, warning, beavers can inflict a serious bite or wound or whatever, so you don't want to fuck around with it, right? So it's the same kind of thing. I didn't have a cell phone where I could look up and see, So, like, from when I was, 14 to probably a few years ago, I used to think a beaver could fuck you up. Like, it would come after you and bite the shit out of you, and, because we had a clubhouse built out in the woods on this little island, and there's beaver dams all over, and I swear in my head, I saw a fish swim by one day. It had 2 big teeth marks on the back of it. But don't beavers eat trees and that's it, like tree bark? They don't eat fish.
No, I think beavers
eat fish.
No, they don't. Look it up. If the computer works, I thought the same thing. I think beavers just are vegetarians or herbivores or whatever.
Eat.
Just type in eating beaver.
Yeah, that's what I was about to do. Yeah, they don't eat fish?
No.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Your whole life, I thought I needed to watch out so I didn't get eaten by a beaver.
It says,
or bit.
They just eat wood?
Obviously.
Beavers just eat wood. Food and feeding habits of beaver. Beavers eat the leaves, inner bark, and twigs of aspen.
Wow.
Like firm young woods, right?
Yep.
Is that a close-up of a beaver?
That is a close-up of a beaver. That's a rough-looking beaver, though.
Best porn website that I ever saw was
Can't
called
turn it anymore. It doesn't want to
Mr. Chu's Asian Beaver, and it had a beaver with one of those rice hats on and Chinese eyes on it. Like, dude, Mr. Chu's Asian Beaver, and it was all Japanese porn.
Dude, there's some good comments on this article.
What's a good article? It's
Was it a Brazilian beaver? Heard they were vicious.
Yeah, they should have just shaved it.
Mm-hmm.
Settle it down some.
That'll that beaver.
Beaver.
What's the next one? I can't open it.
All right, next one. You ready?
Screen.
Oh,
yeah.
This is a good one.
I've read them all. So
artist used tech to control sperm with her mind. This should be in a tinfoil hat. Says art gives us the power to communicate without words, but it's entirely dependent on the mediums around us. Video was not an art form in the 1800s because it didn't exist, and there aren't many people making cave paintings these days. We now live in an era when new platforms and mediums pop up.
Can't make a cave painting. Let me control some semen with my brain.
Regularly, which brings up the question, how does art react to unstoppable rapid evolution? How the fuck do you get to that point?
Don't read the whole thing. It's
All right, well, that's the question transdisciplinary artist Annie Liu is attempting to answer. She's a research assistant with MIT's Media Lab, where she creates research-based art that explores the intersections between science, culture, and emerging technologies. Here it is. One recent piece by Liu, which combines the aesthetic, the political, and the technical, has received a lot of media attention. Mind-controlled spermatoza. Is that how you say it? Spermatoza?
Mm-hmm.
Is aptly named installation which Liu uses technology to control the motion of live sperm in her mind. Or with her mind. Yep.
Interesting, right? That's really all I had on that. I was going to make some crude jokes about,
semen in the brain.
Yeah. Like, I can control this way.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do it for art. All right, I'm back now.
Okay.
All right, next one's on foxnews.com. Man's 29 pounds of poop removed. 29 pounds. So it says the section of colon that was removed was 30 inches long and weighed nearly 29 pounds. When doctors in China removed 30 inches of a young man's colon, they also removed 29 pounds of his feces. Show you this. The 22-year-old's belly,
it's up there on the big one,
had swelled past the size that had been seen in a pregnant woman at full term.
Wow.
He told doctors that he had been constipated since birth and that laxatives only provided slight relief. So I always think this when I see the zit videos and the sty videos, like, when do you let it get to that point? You're walking around. How did he know? 29 pounds. He said he's constipated since birth.
Yeah, but
walking around with 30 pounds of shit in your stomach.
Wouldn't that be something that you just become accustomed to? You're like, I just feel like this must be normal.
I don't see everybody else walking around looking like a pregnant woman because you got turds jam-packed in your stomach. Like, you know what I mean?
Got a turd train.
29 pounds. 30 pounds of poop, basically.
That makes me think, like, how much do I have?
I don't think it's 30 pounds. You don't look pregnant.
Have you ever weighed before and after a poop?
I have not. I was always wondering if it's one of those things to where it wouldn't change, even though it has to.
It will change.
Will
you know, when if I take a leak, like a good solid piss, that's like a 5-pound change. I've got like a gallon of water inside of me when I take a leak.
Do you? All right, let me ask you this.
All right. So I weigh every day, right?
I don't. I haven't weighed myself since I was at the gym with you that day.
187 today.
When I'm at work, I try to drink so much water, right? So at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, fuck, I get this whole thing. So I sit there and I like chug it.
Okay.
And by the time I get home, I mean, it's like, hey. And I got to go cut the toilet in half. Like,
yeah.
And
those are two that happens to me twice a day. Right before I go to the gym. By the time I get to the gym, I'm like,
yeah.
And then by the time I get home, it's hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wait to pee long enough, like when it starts to pee, it like actually is like, ooh, pretty good actually. Just for anyone out there that wants to wait until they're about to pee their pants.
Are you pants on, like pee a little bit?
No, when you just start going. Like when you finally get to go. I had to pee one time. This is a pretty bad story to tell, but I was at a bar a long time ago with an acquaintance of mine that will remain unnamed, and we were down in Texas. We were meeting some girls at this bar. I got completely drunk, and for whatever reason, him and his cousin were in another vehicle, and I decided to ride with this girl that he was talking to and her friend, because I was going to try to put the moves on her friend, right? And we leave to go to her apartment to get something. I can't remember what it was because I'm so drunk. And we were going down the highway. In my head, I can still remember this. We were doing like 115 miles an hour down this highway in this car, this Toyota Corolla. And I'm in the back seat, like, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I got to pee. Like, how far is it to your apartment? Like, we're almost there. I'm like sitting there. I mean, I've been drinking beer all night, right?
Right.
I was like, I really got to pee. Like, how much longer? Like, we're almost there. And it gets to the point I was like, I'm going to pee my pants in the back of this girl's car. You know, we're on the turnpike doing 100 and whatever miles an hour. So I found a Sobe bottle on the floor of the car. It's like, hey, I can't help it. I was like, I'm about to pee my pants. And so I unzip my pants, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, go. And I could not go for some reason. It's like I waited so long I couldn't go. And so I'm sitting there riding in the back of the car.
It's because you were sitting.
With this,
Did you do this?
With this Sobe bottle in position. And I'm just sitting there riding like this. 100 miles an hour, about to go back in time. We're going so fast. And we get to our apartment. No shit, man. She pulls up to the thing and starts putting the code into the gate, and I like just jump out into the garden. I mean, I peed. I was peeing, and I'd start doing the.
He had air in the line.
Like, I mean, it was nonstop. Like, it was. I think I washed away the mulch in the garden, you know. But I mean, like, I got back in the car and I was like, told it was this lit, like, oh, woo. I'm done for the night. That was it.
I'm done.
That's the big one. Yeah. I think that's the worst I've ever had to pee ever. But anyway, all right. So this next article is from Fox News. It says, it's fried.
North Korea's Kim Jong-un uses terrifyingly creative methods to kill enemies.
Yeah. So it says, from sicking wild dogs on his own uncle to gunning down enemies with an artillery mitt for taking out planes. North Korea's Kim Jong-un has built a reputation for dispatching with extreme prejudice all those who cross him. Where is it? So apparently his uncle, there's reports that he sicked wild dogs on his uncle. Where's the part? Perhaps the most frightening method of execution ordered by the 33-year-old third-generation dictator is allowing a pack of starving dogs to devour enemies. In one notable case, the victim was purportedly Kim's old uncle. He was thought of as a father figure to Kim Jong-un and served as second in command of the supreme leader, but he ran afoul of Kim in 2013 for anti-state acts and double dealing with familial ties. Couldn't save him from his nephew's wrath. How he died may never come to light, but a rumor that he was fed to dogs was widely reported. Other reports subsequently claim that he was likely executed by anti-aircraft guns before his body was incinerated by flamethrowers.
It's comedy,
dude.
Like in my head, I hear it. It's like a cartoon.
You imagine what an anti-aircraft gun's gonna do to a body?
Yeah.
And then you're flamethrowing it like
how are you gonna flamethrow it?
The chunks, I guess.
I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that. It could either not happen, or
it's
a perfect example of what happens when the government's in complete control.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Another thing is that it just goes to show that government is the biggest threat to your safety, not cars or doctors or guns or whatever. But
I agree. All right, we're gonna moving on to our guest, our listener segment.
I'll let talk about peeing. I'm gonna pee.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this is probably not the first time we've done this, but you're here for we read an email that we got from one of our listeners online, and this comes to us from I don't know, I'm gonna say his full name, but Brad, one of our listeners, right? And last week we talked about those fucking pedals, like when you're a little kid and you're riding, tearing the shit out of your legs from the and so this guy he sends an email and he says telling us how much he loves the podcast, but he says I cannot help right now but to give my own bike crash story from back in the day when the kids were men, motherfucker. This is what I'm quoting him right now. Okay, so it says, okay, so I was crazy into Evel Knievel. Do you know who Evel Knievel was? All right. That nutty mofo was my biggest idol. So one year for Christmas, I got the Evel Knievel Stars and Stripes jumpsuit, fake helmet and mask. Hell yes, it was essentially a Halloween costume with a mask of his face, and I was over the frickin' moon excited about it. I tried it on, and it didn't take it off all day. There's a photo somewhere of myself rocking my Evel jumpsuit and mask. And I was not fucking around. I was dead serious. No laughing was allowed. I was 9 years old, and I was the man back when imagination was a necessity. So before New Year's Day even came around, I was on the back street jumping ramps on my Fly second-hand dirt trail bicycle. I'm not even sure what that is. Dirt trail bicycle? What is that, a BMX bike?
Yeah.
Basically?
Yeah.
All right. and faster than you could say shattered clavicle, I had toy Tonka truck buses lined up and clearing those bitches easy. High arcing jumps with a dope front wheel twist at the apex mask and all. Now I can picture this, dude, where it's the, you know, where you're over it. I was soaring and neighborhood kids were gathering. Okay, obviously he linked a pic. I'm not looking at it, but it says, but I was wearing my own Evel Knievel jumpsuit just like his, ha. Anyway, I was the hero of the neighborhood, and my newfound micro fame was getting to my head a little. And all was well. I had it under control. Being a true stickler for authenticity, one day, Evel comes to Eastview Street. I insisted on adding a landing ramp. Dude, I can't even read this. I'm drunk.
Hold on. Are you?
Yeah, I drank half that. All right. Whenever you get there. Which was a piece of plywood propped up on a cinder block, but it made the jump look exactly like the ones I saw on TV. I recruited more toy buses from kids in the neighborhood, and day 2 took off with a soaring success. A skinny 9-year-old masked kid with a fresh-ass white cap whipping in the 7-mile-an-hour breeze created by piston-like pedaling, liftoff, flight. Smooth landing.
Hooray. 50,000 kids cheered as I nailed the 5 toy bus jump. Actually, it was 5 kids and 1 toddler who gave 0 fucks and kept screwing around with my buses. The kids lined up 6 buses as I circled around far down the street to start my dramatic approach. Whoosh, cape whipping, and booyah, easily cleared the 6 toy bus jump. Next up, 7 fucking buses. I circled back down to my starting point. I peered crookedly through the eye holes of the plastic Evel Knievel mask, my breath making that wet, swishing sound at the mask's mouth slit, pumping the pedals like a madman. I built up speed on breathtaking quarter-mile approach to the takeoff ramp. 7 buses. I was focused like never before, and I was going faster than ever before as I approached the ramp. So fast, in fact, that the wind blew the mask over my eyes. Oh, fucking A. It just... the height of the story, man. It just, hold on. I'm almost there.
Still hit... Oh, no, it's a... I saw nothing but the mouth slit, topping out at about 7.5 miles an hour. I still hit my mark. Soared from the takeoff ramp, but couldn't see anything except a tiny spit-soaked slit. I couldn't line up my landing, and my front tire hit the cinder block holding the landing ramp, and the bike stopped instantly. But I kept flying. Crooked Evel Knievel mask cape still whipping. My fame came to a scabbed-up ending with a mouthful of dirt and both arms broken just above the wrist. The 7th bus was 1 bus too far. And in keeping with my respect for authenticity, just like my idol, I had broken bones, a destroyed bike, ripped and torn star-spangled jumpsuit, and the hardest lesson my ego had to learn. Until girls came along, of course. That's my big bike wreck story.
That's cool. That's a good one.
From Brad.
Dude, I remember wearing masks and shit like that as a kid. You couldn't see a fucking thing out of them.
I remember.
And they all smell like spit.
Mm-hmm.
I had a ninja mask that I just walk around in, and the whole time I was in it, I just be going doing the whole.
I remember.
My breath stinks.
Many a times where my pants leg would get caught in my fucking bike chain and just
go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I learned to let it ride and then pull it out and it'd have holes in the grease on it, but that's it. But there's a lot of I've got a lot of bike crash stories. I never broke my arms on. But I never tried to jump in 7 buses either.
No. It was well written. There was lots of it was
I like the toddler that was fucking with the bus. Like, hey. That's serious shit, man. About to jump these fucking things.
Was that Evel Knievel in that picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's funny is that this listener must be about my age because Evel Knievel was my idol as well.
Really?
He might be a little older than me or a little bit younger. I don't know, because I think Evel Knievel was a little.
Who's Super Dave?
Super Dave was later, right? Like he was was that fucking guy that wore Hagar pants, and they'd slam him into a wall and be like, "My pants are still good," right? Like, you remember that?
But he looked like Evel Knievel, right? Like, kind of.
No. Well, maybe he had an outfit. I don't know. He was Super Dave was like, I wasn't into Super Dave. I just remember him being on a. He did look like Evel Knievel, little. Super Dave Osborne. Here we'll go.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Not Evel Knievel status. He was trying to All right, what do we got?
Play a commercial and do abuse of authority, and let's go.
Were we just live then?
We've been live this whole time.
Yeah, okay.
On the YouTube.
We're still live.
Yeah, YouTube's always live. This just be out tomorrow. We need to. How much money is it to go live on the Blog Talk Radio?
Like $100 a month.
Fuck that. Serious?
Who'd you get to do your commercials?
That's one of our listeners. Mike does the others. So, if you heard that commercial there, Adam was just, dude, fucking
it gets you, right?
Wolf,
Airwolf, man.
Airwolf, yeah. Not Wolfenstein. Fuck yeah.
I love it.
If he'd listened to this when he was jumping those buses, he'd have made it.
I know.
Rockets
Brad
on the back of that bike and flown into another dimension. No, so that commercial was done by one of our listeners and emailed us. So if you have any idea for a commercial that you want to
send it to us.
Yeah, send it to us and we'll put it on the show.
Send us anything.
It doesn't have to be
top
scripted.
quality.
Yeah, like if you just want to say like, hey, make sure and or email us at this and whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to have all the points or whatever. Make it funny if you want.
I have listen to my other Australian accent. I have an excellent Australian accent.
So
tell me that's not perfect.
Shit.
That's good.
That's a verified Australian right there.
Yeah, he's actually real.
Hold on. Yeah, you gotta cut it back in. That guy's voice is
It's perfect.
so proper.
It is.
It's like sounds like so
I know
well mannered.
It does. He does sound very well mannered and very well.
Like he got a salad fork. Got a salad fork at that house.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't. This Airwolf is like fine. I'm about to jump out this window, get in my car,
right.
do a wheelie down the road.
Let's do this abuse of authority.
All right.
I don't know why I picked Airwolf for abuse of authority.
It's amazing.
But it's good.
I hated that show too. All I wanted to see was when the helicopter came out and they start playing that music. Not that music.
There we go.
All right, so abuse of authority. This is from HuffingtonPost.com. Maryland beach town passes emergency law to protect families from topless sunbathers.
Wait, whoops.
Females bearing their breasts as seen by society is unpalatable, says city attorney. You know, I want to know who's got a problem with boobs and nipples.
You know what? My daughter the other day.
Yeah.
This is my daughter the other day. She says, "Why can't boys run around with no shirts on and girls can't?"
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and lie that women's breasts aren't sexually appealing. Even people say, well, that's not what they're meant for. They're meant for feeding. Like, yeah, well, your ass is meant to shit. Doesn't mean, like you see a girl with a nice ass, you're not going to be like, man, she probably poops well out of that. You know what I mean?
Look at the shitter on that one.
Yeah. So regardless of
yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I don't get who the people are that are like, oh, women just can't be walking around with their shirts off.
I don't know. I think What does it do? What like? All right, what do I need to do?
Well, I mean, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
City Council of Maryland Beach Community held a special session Saturday to pass a, quote, emergency ordinance explicitly barring women from removing their tops at the beach or in any other public place. Ocean City Mayor Richard Meehan, or if he's related to Jay, called the meeting to quote, protect family rights after the local shore patrol declared that
family rights. The fuck?
After the local shore patrol declared that its members would no longer order topless women to cover up. That decision was made after local top-free activist Chelsea Covington complained to officials last summer that the state constitution prohibits gender discrimination, which she argued would make laws ordering only women to wear tops illegal. You know what? If I had young boys for a kid, and we were on the beach, and someone had their shirt off and they had tits. And my kids are like, well, you know,
their boobies are showing.
Like I looked at fucking Playboys when I was a little kid, you know, like they're gonna look, and if they said, hey, why are their shirts off? Like, well, it says what they want to do. It's doesn't really have anything to do with us.
Well, we've talked about this before on this podcast, right? Like, we've talked about nudity in public.
Yeah.
We've talked about like, well, should there be laws against it, right? Like, because obviously I don't buy into that whole idea. I think that it has to do with like, oh, well, if fucking Joe Schmo's walking around buck-ass naked on this property, right, then I'm not going to visit that property if I don't want my children to see that, right? And if I'm a business owner, I'm not going to allow them to be on my property naked, right? Now, in this case, it has to do with a public place, right? That the government regulates, right? So they're going to do what the fuck they want to do here.
The government?
The government's going to do whatever they want to do, and they're going to do it.
It's everything's always in the name of safety or protection.
Right. We got to protect our families' rights. What the fuck? Our families' rights. I don't know.
I would leave it up to the family to protect the rights if that's
exactly
the thing. Like,
right. Like,
hey kids, you know, that's not how your mom's. You know, can't get her to take her top off, so it's not our. Those aren't our family's rights or whatever. I mean, I just don't get it. Like, for one, I've never met a man. I'm trying to think here. Well, there's probably a couple questionable, not questionable as in their sexuality, but I would think would have a problem with it. You know, but they're all older than me, like people that I've worked with in the past were, but. Otherwise, I don't even see why anyone would give a shit. Like, at the lake, I mean, it'd be different if you're in a library, I guess. I mean, but if you had your shirt off in a library, it'd be distracting, right? You know,
what the fuck is that guy doing with his shirt off in the library?
And plus, some of these people, I bet up in Maryland, I mean, some of the dudes' tits are probably as big as, you know, the chicks.
I mean, yeah, you know. I don't have a problem with it at all. Like, I don't have a problem with nudity anywhere.
Yeah, I don't
like,
either.
Okay, then I'm not going to go there.
I've always told my wife, I was like, I bet I could go to a nudist resort. I mean, but in my head, it's a lot better looking than.
Oh, it's mostly going to be old ladies and old dudes.
But like I've told you before, like I always worried I'm going to walk out of the locker room at the gym naked.
No pants?
Yeah, like fuck, I forgot to put my pants on.
My nuts are hanging out.
Because my house, dude.
Yeah. So I do have a question. When is the... what point in time do you start wearing pants? Or what point in time we have daughters, right?
Yeah.
At what point in time does that...
I don't know. I've thought that too because like I'll get home from work and I'll just change and they'll come in there and start talking to me.
Yeah.
But I mean...
Let's not...
You'll be like talking about something completely and not even... It's almost like my wife's the same way. So absolutely zero effect. You know what I mean?
But my wife there's no effect.
I could be in a full button-up suit or buck-net. There's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, Dad, I got this, and this. Like, hold on, let me change real quick. Like, I got to get out of these shoes, you know?
That's the question, right? When does that become? Because
I don't know. I've wondered that, too. I don't know. I guess you have to gauge it yourself.
But, I mean, is it an issue?
I bet it does it itself because there's things my kids have done now. They're like, close the door, you know? Like, oh, okay, sorry, you know, like, are you all right in there? Close the door. Like, okay. So I'm sure it'll be the same thing. Like, Dad, put some pants on. Like, you're in my bathroom with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm pooping.
Yeah.
Like
trying to sit in my lap.
Yeah.
Like, this is disgusting.
That's how it works, man.
I think women should be able to wear shirt or no shirt. I don't give a shit. What about you? What do you think?
I'm fine with it.
No.
First breasts I saw as a kid was at Lake Tahoe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Well, I'd like to think so. You know, I can't.
Yeah,
It's very foggy.
Yeah, it's like when you were a kid, everything was amazing.
Yeah.
Not mine.
There's probably some old lady.
Mine were not amazing.
No.
It was a bit.
Well, you got to tell the story.
Oh, it was bad. All right, so.
Is that fucking bad?
It's bad. I was about 7, right? So. Yeah, so I have like step cousins, right, that aren't like my real cousins. So I had my grandpa, who I considered my grandpa, right, which really wasn't my grandpa. He's like a step grandpa, right? This giant Italian man, right? Big guy, 6'4". Well, he had kids, right? And he's a very hairy man, right? He had kids, and they had kids. And so they would be like my cousins. So I would go and hang out.
Making me anxious.
I would go and hang out with my cousins, and the names were James and Richard, right? And they I would go hang out at their house. I stayed the night. They were spoiled kids, right? Like they had every fucking thing, right? But I stayed the night and got up the next morning, and their mom was in the bathroom naked. Huge titties covered in hair.
No.
Yeah, fucked me up, dude. I was like,
covered in hair?
Yeah, they were hairy.
She had hairy titties?
Hairy titties, yeah, dude.
I didn't even know it was possible.
Yeah, they were just like hairy, monstrous boobs. Like Sasquatch boobs. I mean, in my head, I was like...
It couldn't have been hairy. There'd be something else on it.
No, they were hairy.
I'm typing in hairy boobs in Google. I want to see if that...
Hairy titties.
Yeah. They were, and at that point, I was ruined. Gigantic monstrosities, though.
Oh, hairy bibs.
Maybe she just had like dark nipples or something.
No, dude, the whole things were covered.
Does anyone else have hairy boob insecurities?
I mean, I could see maybe a stray hair.
This can't be real.
Is that what you saw?
No, it wasn't.
Those are butt cheeks, aren't they? Are you looking at what I'm looking at?
No, this right here.
Oh my God, that's what you saw.
No, it was more like this. It was more like this.
What the fuck? This is real. Look at this.
That's what he's looking at.
Those are actually nice boobs, but they're just hairy.
That's what they were like.
Looks like an ass. An ass and a bra.
So like you kind of liked it.
Yeah, it was messed me up.
Was she pregnant? That's what this was on. That's some. Oh my God, this is the worst Google search image search I've ever done in my life.
This is bad.
Hang on.
This is horrible.
Did you see that one with the bush over there on the right?
I see a orangutan with some big old nips.
No, it's got one with crooked nipples. Have you seen that one? I can't slide it across the screen because we'll get in trouble.
Is that worse or is...
I don't know, man.
Look at this one.
This would be hard to deal with all around.
Look at this, Adam.
Strays is worse.
What's going on here? This is like the Assassin's Creed emblem, and then look at these lopsided. What's happening here?
Wow.
You see this?
Yeah.
That's gonna. That would go all the way up to here if it was possible.
This computer like works flawlessly when you're surfing porn, but you try to research articles on a podcast, it locks up. This fucking lady's missing an arm.
Oh, that's probably why she has hairy boobs, because you can't shave it.
Oh, it's just behind her.
Yeah, so I saw
I'm trying to think the first time I saw boobs.
Those were the first real boobs. And then I was probably like 12, and I saw my stepmom's boobs. She had giant, huge boobs.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That messed you up more.
Nah, I was cool by then.
Okay.
I was like, I'm good. Like, their boobs. And she was like, oh! And I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Go swimming.
I've got no, like, real good story of the first time I saw. So it must have not been, I mean, other than looking at Playboys. But real life ones, I can't remember the first time I saw a set.
Was it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to help you.
I don't know. It's kind of depressing, man, that you guys have these great
grandma's
stories.
boobs?
I remember seeing my grandma in a bra, but I don't remember seeing.
That's always weird.
Yeah. That's the same thing, though. I remember, I'd be in there fucking getting, playing and stuff, and my grandma getting dressed in the other room or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't. I need a story. Fuck. My life's.
Well, some of us live on the cutting edge of hairy titties.
Hairy tits. I never in my life thought that a set like that Google search, I mean, those are obviously implants, but those are like nicely shaped tits.
Coconuts.
Yeah, covered in hair.
Mm-hmm. How does that happen?
It's so confusing.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
I mean, you figure you'd have that lasered off.
Fuck,
or nair.
Maybe, I mean, that said something about baby centers, so maybe it's just with babies.
That'd be awful.
Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do what are you gonna do?
My husband probably didn't say a word about that. Do my boobs look different? Nope, not at all. Looks like a man's ass shoved into that bra. So that does it for tonight's show. This should be a 30 minutes longer
on YouTube.
Yeah, so check out the YouTube channel. Also, if you want to make a commercial, like we said, just send us an email. Just send a
stop touching my feet, man.
Send us a
freaking me out
audio file, and we'll put it on. Doesn't have to be fancy or anything like that, as long as it's not just complete shit. If it's complete shit and you don't hear it, just don't.
You'll know why.
It. Yeah. Adam, you want to say anything before we shut it down?
It's fun.
Yeah. Gonna start your own now?
Is it weird?
No, that's too much work. I'll just come and hang out with you guys once in a while.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, welcome to.
Okay.
We'll be your podcast guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
All right, so make sure and check us out on iTunes. One thing that I read, one thing I read is really need to get you to leave a review on iTunes. Apparently, the more reviews we get, the higher ranking we get, the more I don't know. So I think we've got like 3 reviews on iTunes.
Really?
2 of them are us.
How do we make how do you go to iTunes?
I found it one day. I mean, there's some reviews on there. But anyway, if you could, leave a review. If you listen on iTunes, leave a review. We'll get to a point in the future where we'll give a giveaway on reviews somehow if we can figure out how to do it. But it'd help us out immensely.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Love our listeners. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for downloading the podcast, and keep in touch.
Do you think we should... this would be a listener thing. Do you think we should have us both on the same side where we talk like this? No. I think it'd be too weird.
It'd be gay as hell.
Mm-hmm. It'd be like That Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah. That's a different setup, though.
I think so.
I think we should get rid of the YouTube on the podcast and then just do YouTube videos separate. But then it's multiple nights. And
and I'm not going to do that.
Shit. I'm fucking starving right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Adam, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I'm going to break the heart of my current hairdresser.
She probably got hairy boobs, too.
I'm not going to say that. I don't know if she listens to this.
Oh, I don't even know who it is.
She's got big boobs. But I'll... So 3 weeks from Friday or 4 weeks from Friday.
I gotta do 3, man.
I can't. I gotta do 4. I have to budget it. I have to say, okay, I have to justify. If I do every 3 weeks, right? Like as the haircut, that's $30 whatever. Like if it's 25 and I give a $10 tip, right? So that's $35 every 3 weeks. I can't do it that way. I gotta go. I gotta do it every 4. I can't do 3.
Move to once a week.
I gotta get a raise to do that. I'm gonna tell my boss, look, man,
I gotta get a fucking.
I need my haircut once a week. They need to bump me up in pay.
All right.
Adios, muchachos. Fucking fan's cold. Yeah, you're fine.